Hey y'all, Derek with the Food Boat. We are back here at the North Charleston Boat Show at the Convention Center, and we've got a guest that y'all have seen out here before. Everyone say hey to Fred Neuville. He's been out here before, and he is going to be showing us cooking up a flounder recipe. I'm not even going to try to say it, Fred, because I've butchered it a few times.
Nicoise.
Nicoise.
It just rolls off the tongue. That's why I call it Nicoise, because not everybody can pronounce it and it sounds cool. So we have a flounder, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to fillet one. But when you purchase your fish, there's a couple of things that you want to look for.
Okay.
First, you want to, if the fish has the head on, then you want to look at the eyes and the gills. The eyes need to be clear and the gills need to be red. And there needs to be a slime to the gills. That shows how fresh it is. The next thing is if you purchase a fish that has no head, okay, you want to make sure it's firm and has no aroma, okay? If it has no aroma, then you know it's fresh, or it smells, this sounds kind of weird, but it smells clean. Now here you can tell that we have two different kinds of flounder. They're the same fish, all depends upon what they eat as to what color they come. So first what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fillet this big guy. I have two types of knives. I have a fillet knife, okay, and I have a boning knife. Now, as you can tell, the fillet knife is a lot longer than the boning knife. I prefer to work with a shorter knife. Just it handles better for me, okay? So, there's two ways you can fillet a flounder. You can fillet it this way, coming in towards the backbone, okay? Or you can go down the backbone and fillet out. I prefer to use the backbone as a guideline. So I find it right here, come straight down, just like that, okay? And then you're just gonna fillet it. You're using the bones as a guideline, just like that, okay? And we'll take the skin off here in a minute. But you see how nice that is? So all I did was just go right down the back, follow the bones. If you can fillet a fish, you can fillet a deer, you can fillet a bird, a chicken, you can fillet anything, because all you're doing is following the natural bone structure of that particular item, whatever you're doing. Grits. So, grits take a long time to cook. These took 3 hours to be done. And how I made these was I took Cooper River Farms Applewood smoked bacon, which is absolutely delicious bacon, and cooked it. Water, half and half. Butter. You can never have enough butter. I always add a little extra. And then you cook the bacon separately, and you chop the bacon up, okay? And you throw it all in there with the water and the butter, and if you want heavy cream, I use half and half just because it's lighter, because I add more butter. And then you cook it till it's done, and then you finish the grits, which these are Marsh Hen Mill grits, which are absolutely delicious, local, Edisto Beach, near Edisto Beach. And you cook them until they're done. These took about 3 hours. And then you finish it with a little bit of lemon, parsley, and salt. I'm gonna heat up some brown butter. Now, what that brown butter is, this is just clarified butter. So clarifying butter, what you need to do is you need to get your pan hot, put your butter in, melt the butter, and then the milk solids separate from the butter. Okay, you skim those milk solids off. There's also some at the bottom. So you strain it, and you don't ever strain all of it because you don't want the liquid at the bottom either. What that does is that brings up your burning point. So it won't burn. You're essentially just cooking with oil. butter, oil. Now, I browned this a little bit. You can tell that it has a slight color to it. Therefore, it has a nutty, here, smell that. It has a nutty aroma and a nutty flavor. And it'll go very nicely with these ingredients right here, which are plushed herbs. Now, what plush means is just picked. And these are fiends herbs. So what fiends herbs are a mixture of tarragon, parsley, chives, and chervil. Then we have capers, and we have Nicoise olives, thus Flounder Nicoise, okay, or Kalamata olives. They're pitted, and fresh tomato, and of course, lemon. You can buy this. You can buy this in the store. It's called ghee. It's very expensive. So why not just make it yourself, right? So we're gonna put a little bit of this in here and get that hot, that ghee or brown butter. Okay, now we're gonna skin our flounder. Now you wanna make sure you get rid of these little pin bones right here. And you can use the skin if you want. Skin is edible, just make sure that your fish has been scaled, because scales they get in your teeth and they're very chewy. You can use it skin on, but I prefer for this dish to use it skin off. So what you do is you just start right like that, hold it, and if it doesn't break, it's a lot easier. So I'm gonna do this bad boy this way. So I'm holding the fish down and just using the meat as a guideline. If I were to use the skin, what I would do is I would score it. And what that means, as a matter of fact, I'll just saute one up with the skin. So this piece we'll use it with the skin. Now, if you use it with the skin, you're going to want to present it skin side up. The reason being is that you want that skin nice and crispy. Now, if you serve it skin side down, then it's going to steam and your skin is not going to be crispy. Okay, so I'm going to just score this lightly. And what this does is it will allow so if I weren't scoring it, the fish would curl up. This will allow it to stay flat. All right, so we're gonna switch the burners here because that is gonna be, there we go. This is a dish that I created for the Fat Hen when I owned it, and Fat Hen was a low country French restaurant. Grits are very low country, so I wanted to add a French element, and thus the Flounder Nicoise with all these ingredients. It's a very French dish. I'm going to season the flounder with a little bit of salt, but you got to take into consideration that we have very salty ingredients. We have capers and olives, so you don't want to over season it, but you do want to season it in order to bring out the fullest flavor. I never use iodized salt. It's very processed, and I know this is going to sound kind of corny, but it's very salty. It's salt that tastes like salt, right? So I use only red box kosher salt. A lot less salty and more flavorful. So what we're going to do is we're just going to season these guys lightly. We're going to season both sides. Now what we're going to do is we're going to saute. I've got my brown butter nice and hot. We're going to see if, okay, see how that's sizzling? We're going to turn it up. That's exactly what you want. You want to hear it cook. There we go. It's kind of like pan frying. But saute means high heat, quick cook. Looking for a little color on the bottom. I think Pour a little bit of that off. Just poured a little bit of that brown butter off. All right. Let's see what we got here. There we go. All right. What do you think? Well, 1 out of 3 isn't bad.
I want it.
Let's see. Here we go. There we go. That's the color you want. These next ones will be a little bit browner. Especially with meat, you always want to make sure that you let your meat rest. So when you're cooking, all the molecules are bouncing all around, right? If you were to take a piece of meat, like a piece of beef, and you were to cook it, and then you were to cut it right away, all the juices would run out, all the blood would run out. But if you let it rest for a little bit, all those molecules stop bouncing around and they go back to where they were, and you slice it, and it's nice, and it's more flavorful. You have a lot better chance of something drying out if you cut it right away. All right. Skin side down. If I were cooking in a restaurant, what I'd do is I'd sear it on one side, flip it over, and just set the pan up top until I'm ready to pick it up, until I'm ready to plate the order. We're gonna crisp that skin up just a little bit. Take that out. Just a little bit more. And then we're gonna make our sauce. A little bit more. We're gonna put our grits on our plate. We're gonna add our, turn that off, add our olives. Watch it, capers. Tomatoes. Assemble our fish. Let's see here. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add some lemon juice. Now, when you squeeze a lemon, when you get the juice, you want to press it down, roll it. That releases all the juice from inside the lemon. If you don't have a strainer, just use your hand. Squeeze it right in there. Now we're going to add our herbs. Again, these are plushed herbs, or picked. Always taste. bit more lemon. Whenever you cook, you always want to use some acid, whether it's lemon juice, wine, vinegar, whatever, because what acids do is they cleanse your palate and allow you to taste more of the flavors, and they also bring out all the flavors in that dish that you're making. What we're going to do is we're just going to go like that. And there you have it, Flounder Nicoise.
All right, I think this is a good place to end this live stream. Thanks again to Fred. We're going to end this one. We'll be back in a few minutes when we reset. And we're doing sheep's head this time.
Sheep's head a la Veracruz style.
There we go. So we'll see y'all in a little bit here.